My name is Charles Froggatt. I work with Dartfish Video Analysis Solutions. I work closely with Nick Barrow, who's from we're working from the leading snooker coach in the world. We're delighted that he uses our software, and hopefully tonight you're going to see how he uses it and how he uses it to improve people's snooker game. So Nick, over to you, and I will be answering or informing you of questions a bit later in the session.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Charlie. If anybody can't hear or has problems, just post questions in the question panel on the right-hand side. There is a red arrow on the top right-hand corner of your screen that you can press to expand the control box and press again to reduce the control box if you want to see more of what's happening on the screen. The Dartfish analysis for billiards and snooker is something that started a year ago with Charlie spearheading the initiative to bring this software into cue sports, not only snooker. I'm going to make a quick introduction on what's going to happen tonight. We're going to go for about an hour, talking for about 40 minutes using demonstrations with video in Dartfish about how to improve a certain aspect of your snooker game, and also a couple of points on how to use the Dartfish software itself and the benefits it brings as a player and a coach, actually. We'll also have a live quick Q&A session. We probably will use the method we used last time, which was Charlie fielding the questions to me, rather than taking live questions through audio. Charlie will probably translate those for me and pick the ones that are on topic. And hosts are myself and Charlie. I think we know how to post questions in that control box on the right-hand side that you can expand or collapse with that click by clicking on that red arrow on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Very briefly then, what is Dartfish software? World's leading sports video analysis system used by hundreds of federations, sporting federations and broadcasters across the world, and it was started 13 years ago by Mr. Victor Bergonzoli. My background very briefly is that I was pro for 7 years, and I've been full-time coaching since '98, where I was head coach in the U18 for 7 years. I've been heading up the IBSF Coach Training Academy since 2005. And today's session is going to be about Restplay. We're going to focus on this. There are quite a few variables in Restplay that need all to come together at the same time for you to get any meaningful improvement in your Restplay. And this is one of the reasons why players find it so difficult to improve with the rest. Firstly, they don't know, and how would you, what you need to improve. And secondly, quite a lot of these components need to be in place at the same time. The main ones we're going to look at today are the stance, which enables a good setup for your bridge and grip hand, which are the controllers for the cue. And that in turn allows for an accurate cue delivery. The main Dartfish tools we're going to be showing you today are the line drawing tool, the clone rectangle, which sounds very interesting, as well as distance measurement. So with formalities over, let's open the software, and this is the interface that you see when you're working in the software. Can look a little bit intimidating when you're using it, but if you just learn it step by step, component by component, the power of what it offers becomes apparent very, very quickly. So what I'm doing here, on the left-hand side, you can see something called Client Summaries. There's another heading beneath that called Technique, and then Views. What these are keywords. So every time I create a video in Dartfish, I have a huge archive of videos that I have created for customers. Each one of these small clips Each analysis might have 10 videos of 5 or 6 minutes each. Each of those clips has a certain subject on their game, and you can assign very simply in Dartfish a keyword to somebody's game. So, for example, if we look at bridge arm, there are certain videos assigned to bridge arm and cue delivery and rest play, which is what we're working on today. And you can then select those videos to show your customers who are interested in rest play, as we're doing tonight. And then you can line them up in the bottom panel down here called Storyboard, which is directly underneath the video pane that you see. And we've got about 15 of these very small clips, very short clips, that we're just going to skip through briefly on each one to give you an overview of these main technical points required for the rest. First one is approach to the shot. You can see there's an arrow on my spine there, which corresponds to the line of aim. If you're standing behind the line of aim, and your student is not blocking your view to the line of aim, it means your student is not on the line of aim. So this is what you should see if you're standing behind the line of aim of your student, is a them rather than a shot. And as this player approaches the table, you can see 2 steps moving forward, and about an 80-centimeter gap between the feet, with the keyword there being balance. Extremely important that you're balanced, as it's then difficult to move on the shot. And you can see my spine has remained on the line of aim, but about half my body weight is either side of the line of aim, and head nicely planted on the line of aim as well. So it means the whole stance can have a minimum of tension and a maximum of relaxation and comfort. So that's effectively the boxer type stance that most players benefit from with the rest. And I like to say usually that stand with the rest as you do without the rest. It makes it simpler. If you have the same stance without the rest as with the rest, it makes it much easier and more familiar as well. I think a lot of people are put off by the unfamiliar aspect of using the rest. But what we're going to use here is one of our coach examiners actually, and we had a session over here in England. Terry's from Canada, and what we've got here nice setup position. With each shoulder either side of the cue. Cue going directly behind the aiming line that the player is most comfortable with. Let's just allow that to jump to the next clip.
Nick, I realise that your screen might have frozen. It's possibly because of the transmission. You're obviously using up a lot of bandwidth there.
Okay, so, all right, I'll restart it then. Yeah.
So just to talk you through what you see on the screen there, you'll see a number of videos, I guess about 15 to 20 videos across the bottom of the screen there. That's what we call in Dartfish a storyboard. That allows our clients to bring together a series of videos and build up a picture of a client's technique. So, for example, you might be analyzing somebody's technique from the side, from the front, or you might be looking at at a particular bit of analysis at different beats. So what this allows people to do is really build up a picture of somebody's technique.
Yeah, what I tend to do is just take all the different videos on one aspect of their game, so Restplay, for example, in this case, and put them all in the storyboard so that we can skip through each clip and they can get almost a 360-degree awareness of what they're doing at the table.
I mean, Nick, are you so when you build up a picture of somebody's technique, do you use different speeds? I mean, do you like to look at somebody's technique at real time and then break it down? What do you look at first, real time, or do you go straight to the slow motion?
You tend to use the tools that are appropriate for the application, really.
Right.
So
again, we see the storyboard at the bottom there. Nick can access videos directly from the tray on the left.
Yeah, so you can see now I've gone to keywords on the left, selected Restplay, selected all of those, and then you can drop them into the storyboard. Let's just drop the rest of those into the storyboard. So what we've got here is, as the player goes through, frozen elbow is a very common issue that you'll see with players. Now what's happening here, if we just draw the line here, look, line of aim, as the player delivers the cue, because the elbow is stiff and tight, the cue goes around to one side and you get an off-straight delivery. That's extremely common and is resolved by allowing the elbow to go straighter, to finish in a straighter position rather than an angled position here. You can see here that angle of forearm to upper arm using the angle tool is about 110 degrees or so, 115 degrees. Should be closer to 180 degrees, in other words, almost straight. So there's a bit of tension in the elbow there, needs a bit of oil in there to help things along. Then if we go to the next video, same player, allowing the elbow to be a little bit straighter. We've got a better angle of the forearm, approaching 130, 140 degrees. So that's getting straighter, and the cue has actually, if we draw the line of aim again, that cue has delivered much more loyally to the line of aim. What happens from the side-on view, let's just wait for the next video to come up. Side-on view shows us a nice vertical position here with the bridging arm, the upper arm, going directly into the bed of the table, almost like a pylon, like a telegraph pole. That gives a lot of stability to the upper body and makes it more difficult to move. And you can see the rest is hidden nicely underneath the forearm as well. So the forearm is grasping the cue onto the table very firmly. Doesn't mean with strength or force, but with firmness. In other words, firmly enough that the rest can't escape from underneath the hand with the natural movement generated when the arm goes through the shot on delivery. You can see here, though, that the cue has gone, or the grip hand has almost collapsed onto the rest itself. So we've got very little distance indeed to the rest, and this is common as well, because the weight of the rest and the weight of the arm, they want to go towards the table with gravity. So it is easy to allow the cue to drop as it's going through, and the issue with that, if you look at where the tip finishes here, the height, and what we can do is make these lines thinner to suit, and you can even change the colour as well. There you go, so that's after. If we do before, if you look at that, we'll do before with a different coloured line. Why don't we choose, green's probably not the best colour, is it? Let's choose black. You can see the difference there between the height that the player is aiming the cue ball and the height that the tip finished. So the more true to the starting plane of the cue your delivery is, the more chance you have of having struck the part of the cue ball that you're aiming at. You can see that effect here again, with the hand very low to the rest. So having done that, let's see what else we have here. A couple more videos with Terry. No, I'm mistaken actually, just the preview pane was. So we can go on to the clips where I'm playing the shot, and what we've got here, line of aim again. Let's choose the yellow line. And the other thing I just want to show here is the angle of forearm to cue as well, which is, let's just reduce the opacity there, almost 180 degrees. So the more your forearm is in line with the rest, the more like an extension of your arm it is. It's quite common to see players with the forearm over here somewhere, and then the rest underneath the cue, almost. The problem with having the rest under the cue is that it can get in the way of the grip hand as you deliver the cue. So the bridge hand there can get in the way and interfere with the grip hand, especially if you're playing follow through, where the tip of the cue is high and the butt of the cue is lower to the table. But what we can see here is the backswing position, which is at the chin. Most players, when they're playing, have the cue on the chin. And in the same way, your cue, your chin, should be in the same relationship with the cue, height-wise, as when you're playing normally. it's very common to see players bringing the grip hand down here, somewhere under the chin. And it then becomes very difficult and tight to control the hand, tight and uncomfortable to control the hand in the cue if the hand goes under the chin. So having the hand at chin level here is a good insurance against bringing the hand under the chin into the no control zone. And then let's see if we deliver a cue on this one. No, that will be the next clip. Let's just wait for this one to load up. Okay. So this one we have same setup position. And what we can see here, the distance. If we go over here, I don't know.
Nick, could you just, sorry, just to interrupt.
Yep.
Nick, could you just confirm that you are sharing your screen, please?
It says that I am, yep.
Great, that's great. I just wanted to check that because a user said they couldn't. Just continue, thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, if anyone else can't see the screen, just let's see what I'm doing on the Dartfish software, just let Charlie know. And the distance from the rest head to the cue ball normally is around 30 centimeters. What you can see is that the grip hand is almost touching the chin there. And if we go backwards a little bit, you can see that that distance there, 30 centimeters, also is the distance from the chin to the grip hand. And that becomes important when the player wants a free and easy backswing. A very common issue, and look at this in your own game, is if the chin's too close to the butt of the cue, if it's not about 30 centimeters away from the butt of the cue, at cue ball address position, when you pull the cue back, you're going to be in trouble because you either have a stunted backswing and a snatch delivery, or you pull the hand under the chin into the no control zone and lose control that way. Let's go to the next clip, which may show a follow-through here. It does indeed. So what we can see here is before, we'll do it before and after. That's your line of aim. On the delivery, cue remains on the line of aim. The reason for that, we can do color-coded here, because my shirt is rather the same color as that yellow line. You can see that the elbow here is 180 degrees, yeah? And completely straight because the arm is relaxed, the elbow is relaxed, and the grip hand has been allowed to open completely. So if we remove that and use the rectangle clone tool, we can then expand this, blow it up, zoom it up, and you can see how those fingers are opening nicely at the delivery position. You can see that there's a line on the knuckles here. And you can see those fingers are pointing more or less in the same direction, each of the four fingers pointing more or less the same direction. Which indicates, and they're also in the same direction as the forearms bar. You can see that the hand and the forearm are more or less in the same direction, pointing in the same direction. You get problems if there's a big angle between wrist and forearm. It means that there's a lot of tension. You could even do that now, sat at the desk. If you try and create a lot of angle between your wrist, your hand, and your forearm, there isn't that much movement there that you can do without feeling a lot of tension. And tension is the enemy of control and a Rolls-Royce cue action. Just waiting for the next video to load up. The reason for the slight delay here on the loading up of each new clip is that the webinar software takes up a lot of the video resources because it's pushing through the video resources of the computer online what we're seeing in front of us here. So that's the reason that it can take a few seconds to load up each clip. So what we've got here is another view of the same thing. You can see that the elbow is completely relaxed, there's no tension there, and notwithstanding the wrist pointing upwards slightly, which is in its natural position. If you form a gentle fist in front of your screen with one hand, you'll see that with most people there's a small angle between the top of the hand and the forearm. But again, even in that direction, if you try and rotate that too much one way or the other, you can get tension. So we're looking for a tension-free hand position that is as close to your hand position as you are when you stand up straight and let your arms flop to the sides. The closer your the feeling in the wrist is to that feeling, the more chance you've got of manipulating the cue accurately. And you can see also that if we use the distance tool again, that's not 1 meter, but we can set that as a reference if we know that is about 25 centimeters. You can just put that in. You can see a nice height, excuse me, between the bed of the table and the cue. So the arm hasn't become lazy and said, all right, I've played the shot now, I can just go to sleep on the table now. It's kept itself loyal to the plane of the cue and the line of the aim and the height on the cue ball. And if you can see that your cue is followed through the height of the cue ball that you're aiming at, that's a pretty good sign that you have hit it at the height you're aiming at, which gives you a chance to evaluate. If you didn't get position, then you're probably aiming at the wrong height on the cue ball. If you don't know the height you hit the cue ball, it's impossible to evaluate your positional play and know, did I hit where I was aiming and choose wrong? Or was I aiming at the correct part of the cue ball and delivered the cue wrong? You need to know the answer to that question to be able to improve your game. Next clip is quite interesting because it shows the grip from behind 30-degree angle. This is from front 30-degree angle. So let's see what happens in the next clip. What we have here, same thing, and you can see again, just pointing out again, this rest being an extension of the arm with the forearm nice and vertical there to provide a good anchor. I'm going to allow the cue to follow through. Just look at the shape of the grip hand there. We'll use the clone rectangle tool, because we're going to track this as it follows through as well. Just doing the cueing preambles. You'll see that there's about 1 inch of the cue sticking out behind the grip hand here. Let's see what happens as the cue delivers. So we're making the backswing now to the chin. you can see that now there's no cue sticking out the back of the grip hand now, is there? Because the shape of the hand has changed. What you actually find is that you have a pivot point here between the top knuckle of the finger and the bottom line of the thumb. If we go back again, you can see that same pivot point again. Exactly the same thing. Only because the angle of the arm is different, the angle of the hand to the shot is different. As with cueing, as with follow-through, at the follow-through position, you can see the cue now has almost been swallowed up into the hand. The danger of having no cue butt out of the back of the grip hand at the address position is when you follow through, the butt of the cue will disappear inside the hand and will frankly fall out of the hand, out of the bottom of the hand onto the table, unless you make emergency contingency measures by tightening the hand or compromising your grip position to prevent it falling out of the hand. We don't want that. We want the hand to concentrate on delivering the cue, not stopping the cue fall out of the hand. And you can also see, if we use the arrow tool, you can see a small gap in there. That shows that the first finger and the thumb have actually opened as the hand delivers. And that is an extremely important part of Restplay. You can see here, at address position, it's closed, isn't it? That's the natural way the thumb and the first finger close. Big mistake is to keep that closed under the misguided notion that if it's closed, I'm under control of the cue. In theory, that's a great theory. But if you keep that closed, the hand will get tighter and tighter and tighter as you follow through with the cue. You can see how here the hand still looks very relaxed. Next clip. What we have here is another view of this follow-through position of the hand. I'm just frame advancing here. I'm moving the cursor in blocks along the process of the shot because the webinar format doesn't allow us to stream video reliably and accurately. But I'm just taking various clips from this stroke, and you can see there again, straight elbow. Doesn't need to be tight, doesn't need to be locked at an angle. This shows that there's a lot of relaxation in the arm. And you can see again, there's a nice gap above the table. Again, that's not 1 meter, that's about 25 centimeters, isn't it? You can see the cue remaining there as a discipline, as a post-shot discipline. That gives me a chance to see which height did I deliver the cue through on the cue ball. So that 1 second staying in position after you've played the shot is so important for you to know, how did I deliver the cue? How did I execute the shot? It's a great discipline as well. If you don't stay where you are, if you don't hang around on the shot for a second or so, what happens is under pressure, that jumping off the shot earlier than the point in time when you get your feedback on the shot will happen more and more and more and more earlier, and you will eventually start jumping off the shot before you've even hit the ball. So if nothing else, staying down on the shot for a second or more is a good insurance against jumping off the shot early under pressure. Then we've got a side-on view on the next clip.
Nick, if I may just jump in here, I do have a quick question for you, just whilst you're on that clip. The maximum gap of the hand from the bed of the table, what is it? What should the maximum gap of the hand?
That's a very good question. So I'm going to answer that here. The line of the cue that you can see here goes under the chin, as it would with a normal non-rest shot. And the distance is about 30 centimeters from hand to chin. This is so important. If the only thing you get from today is checking that you've got this 30 centimeter gap from your hand to the chin on address position, it makes a massive difference. But one of the reasons players are very close to the chin with the hand, for example, they'll often be here, and I'm coming to answer your question, Charlie. They're often here. The reason for that is that they are not comfortable with the grip hand. So their grip hand is malformed and perhaps doesn't have that extra inch of cue behind the grip at address position. So the body knows the cue is going to fall out of the hand on delivery, so it makes a compensation by bringing the hand closer to the face. Very often that is a compensation to feel comfort when the grip hand isn't formed properly. Now, because the rest is a pivot, it's like a seesaw, I'm now on this shot at a screw shot position. I'm at the bottom of the cue ball, which means a raised head. But if I were to play topspin on the ball, the line of the cue needs to go here, doesn't it? Because the butt of the cue needs to drop, the rest is the seesaw, so the tip of the cue lifts up. So my head would need to be down here. So the height of the cue above the cushion, above the bed of the table, depends on the height that you're addressing the cue ball. Does that make sense?
Yes, Nick, that made a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay. You can see here the backswing position and follow through again. Again, we can see that the hand's relaxed, nice and relaxed. Elbows completely straight. It won't go straight all the time. It depends how much speed you played on the shot. But if you're playing 4 out of 10 speed or not, or more, if your elbow's relaxed and the hand has no fear of dropping the cue out of the grip hand, usually that confidence is usually given by having an inch of cue out of the back of the grip hand at address position. Your elbow is going to end up straight. So if it isn't, if you're consistently stopping the delivery with a big angle in the elbow, go back through the recording of this webinar and have a look at the various components that we've discussed, and you'll be able to give yourself some clues on optimum grip hand comfort and control. This is the setup position. What I find for my game is, first of all, we're 90 degrees to the line of aim. Okay. In fact, we can use the angle tool. Doesn't look like 90 degrees, does it? But it is. I mean, we can show that by looking at the angle of these tiles. Look, I mean, these tiles are straight with the table, and that's the line of the tile. So you can see my feet are almost both touching that tile line, which is level with the table, and the camera's at a slight angle to the stance. That's why the angle tool doesn't show the accurate angle. It would if we were head on to the shot. Put the rest in front of you and the cue in front of you, and let them meet. As you go down, as you're making the first step forward, get the cue and the rest as soon as you can. So my cue is already on the line of aim, the rest head is already on the line of aim. So my job is to put the rest head and the cue as a collective item onto the line of aim. Then all I need to worry about is getting into my comfortable stance position. And obviously, as we all do on this webinar, don't we? We've found the line of aim before we get down to the shot. That's what standing up behind the shot gives to you as a player, the ability to find the line before you get down. That's what the pros do. They found the line, they know their cue ball position, they know the height and speed they're going to play the cue ball. Done, the shot's finished in their head. The rest of it is just execution. It's just the physical side of the shot. They've already rehearsed it very clearly before they get down. 2 steps only. Any more than 2 steps, and you're adding a variable to your approach to the table. Watch the pros on TV without the rest. They make 2 steps. The line of aim foot and then the outside foot just plant into position with 2 simple steps. You can see that's my normal stance position, as if I weren't using the rest. Let's make things more familiar. And you can see that line here. That's almost vertical. And what you're looking for in a player, if you take a video of yourself or get one of your friends to take a video of yourself with the rest, what you're looking for really is, again, that magic word, balance. If a player looks balanced, if you look balanced, the probability is that you don't have excess tension anywhere in your body, and it's probably an effective way of standing at the table. Everyone's got a different physiology, so everyone's got a slightly different setup, optimum setup at the table. But if it looks correct, it usually is. So I would practice when you go to the club. Look at players standing at the table. See if you can visualize where they've got tension in their body, whether it be in their stance or their back or their arm or grip hand. See where you can visualize where they're trying to prop themselves up or prevent an out of balance scenario. By introducing tension. Often if someone's out of balance, there'll be tension in their body to stop themselves falling over. But that's effectively it with the setup instructions and guidelines for the rest play. Do we have any questions on what we've done so far?
Hi Nick, just one question on regarding the distance between. Let me find it again. Just 1 second. Yes, the maximum gap of the hand from the bed of table. They were actually just wanted to talk about the vertical height rather than just from the chin to the hand.
Yep.
If you could just clarify from the bed of the table to the hand itself.
Okay. Well, let's see if those lines still remain in the software on the previous video. Yeah, I mentioned in the previous clip that here, because the rest acts like a seesaw, This, with a high butt and a high chin, is screw back. We're at the bottom of the cue ball. To lift the tip of the cue higher onto the top of the cue ball, the butt of the cue needs to lower, doesn't it? So what happens is the cue then would need to be on this position here, horizontal to the bed of the table. Your chin follows it, position. So your head lowers. Your head is in the same position relative to the cue, but the cue, then here it's what? What's that? 10 centimeters above the table. But when you have screw back, the butt of the cue is higher, so you might be 30 centimeters, 25 centimeters above the bed of the table. Does that make sense? Is that what people are wanting answered?
Well, it's just one member, Rajiv, and I'll get his feedback and ask you if not. But yeah, please move on from.
Yep. Any other questions, Charlie?
No other questions, Nick.
Okay. We have a client here who I did some work with the Restplay, and you can see what I've shown here, that the angle between the wrist and the forearm is quite large. What's that, about 30 degrees or more? Yeah, about 40 degrees. It's a very large angle between the rest and the cue. So there's instability there and lack of control of the rest, and therefore the rest head, which is effectively your bridge arm, your bridge hand. And then let's see what happens on delivery. There's the line of aim. And as we can see on delivery, there's a rather large angle between the forearm and the upper arm of the cueing arm. Done pretty well to avoid hooking the cue around the corner there with such a huge angle between forearm and upper arm that you can see there. That really is huge. If the player's completely relaxed, that will go through and there'll be some squeaky oil in the elbow there, and the arm will end up much straighter, especially when speed is involved. This may have been because the shot was played quite slowly. You don't have to force the arm to go through straight. But if it's relaxed enough, it will go as straight as it wants to go. So that just highlights with another customer video of mine the arm angle protocols with the Restplay. Any other questions on that so far?
No questions, Nick. Just compliments from Victor telling you.
Thank you.
Oh, Nick, just quickly, actually, I've got a question from Steph saying, Nick, I tend to miss a few easy shots with the rest. How do I improve this?
Well, first of all, apply everything that we've done so far. And is that Steph from Ireland again, I think? We had a question last time. That's the first thing. And starting small and building up. So I'm going to type something on the screen here. Let's do this, look. We'll do an ascending scale of priorities. So what you do is, this is your foundation. So you start with a short shot. but is also soft. And plain ball. In other words, no spin, no cue ball position, just running the cue ball through. And in fact, we'll add to that. Short, soft. Straight. And plain ball. So there's no aiming because it's just a straight pot. No angled aiming. It's the simplest of pots and the easiest to correct if you make a mistake. And keeping it short. Then, once you've done that, and you can pot that consistently using what we've done here, all you do is go up a level, slightly more advanced. You'd remove one of these 4 points here. So, for example, I would then go a bit longer. Okay? Okay? Then,
that makes sense, Nick.
Yeah, when you can make the shot longer, then you make it, okay, speedier. Harder might mean more difficult. Then you go speedier. Okay? Then when you can do that, you go for an angled pot. And then when you've done that, you introduce the last level of difficulty, which is then cue ball control. And if you're struggling at any one of these higher, more advanced levels, you just go down a level until you get it at the simple baby steps. I think most players hinder themselves in their progress by going too advanced. I wish when I was learning the game that I had focused more on simple shots and getting those consistent and repeatable and bulletproof, because then you can take those reference shots, apply them to 20 other shots on the table, 50 other shots on the table, and you have some learning going on. And then you build up your core competencies. So that's my slightly longer answer to a simple question. Yeah, anything else?
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, great. Just if you could, there are quite a few questions coming in, so nice quick answers are appreciated, although that's an excellent answer. From Vijay in India, I have found it really difficult to screw back with the rest. If I do, I tend to miss the pot. Any handy tips on that?
Yes, the issue with miscuing with the rest is, let's do this. Right, this is your cue ball, okay? This is your cue. The rest, the problem with the rest is that the crosshead at the end is quite high. And it's high enough that your cue can be parallel and play with topspin. Okay? The problem is when you play with screwback, look at the steep angle that you've got there. What that means is that you are then scooping down onto the edge of past the edge of the cue ball. Look at that point on the cue ball that I'm aiming at here. You can see that if I have a parallel cue, as I would almost do with a bridge hand, normal bridge hand without the rest, look, I'm hitting a solid part of the cue ball there, aren't I? But with the rest, that same part of the cue ball becomes a miscue zone. So the secret tip there is aim about 5 millimeters higher on the cue ball than you think you need, and that's your maximum screwback point, and play them softer, because screwback is about accuracy on height of ball rather than speed through the ball. Next question.
Well, actually, I might just start with a quick comment. Watching this video has shown me Watching this video has shown me where I'm making most of my misses. Thank you very much. And that's from Dennis Ballister. He says thank you.
Very much.
No other questions at the moment. I think it'd be okay for you to move on to the next video.
Okay. Well, we've covered the videos we need to in terms of the main components of Restplay. It's not complicated. There are about half a dozen components that you must have all in place, all at the same time to be effective with the rest. And assuming the recording of this has worked and that we can get that up online, you'll feel free to go back through it at any time and refresh your memory of these protocols with the rest. And apply one a week. Take one a week and apply that to your Restplay and practice with the Restplay. Even if it's 5 minutes every time you go down to the club, that's enough. That will break your fear of playing with the rest. And personally, I don't agree with this obsession of a lot of the professionals playing left-handed or having a really long extension so they don't need to use the rest, or having some other escape clause from the rest, because at some point you have to use the rest. When the distance to the ball is too much, you have to use the rest on occasion. So I personally feel that if you use the need for the rest as a practice, just to stay in practice with the rest, it makes you more familiar with it, rather than sometimes a long extension, sometimes left-handed, sometimes the rest. You'd have to practice with all three to get proficient at all three. Why not just use the rest all the time when you need to? And look at Steve Davis and Stephen Hendry. 13 world titles between them. They never played left-handed. They never used a very long extension with a sort of massive amount of cue in front of their bridge hand, which reduces accuracy. John Higgins, he doesn't play left-handed. Ronnie's obviously the exception. That would be my advice, is to stick with the rest and just get more comfortable with it. A friend of mine used to play matches with the rest, and he made a 54 break with the rest. So if anyone can beat that, please email me, and I'll put it on my Facebook. So before I wrap up, any other questions?
Yes, hi. Nick, got another question here, again from Rajiv Kumar. How to balance the cue when there is extension in cue and rest, and you're playing from the back line. I'm not sure if I understand that. Do you understand that?
I think so. I like to see a long rest in a club, so that effectively what we've got here, this setup here from the side, you could have, let's say, the tip of the cue. That could be a really short cue with a really short rest, and the cue ball could be 2 feet in front, 3 feet in front of my grip hand there. Okay? Or it could be a long rest with a really big extension and a very long cue as well. And the cue ball could be 9 feet in front of my grip hand. From this picture, you don't know. And that's the beauty of this picture, because it shows you, for me, that's my ideal, comfortable, optimal setup position. And that's the beauty of this software. It tends to isolate what's important for the player. And you want to have this setup or the same setup, whatever the distance of the cue is. Now, if you're in a club that has rubbish accessories, you'll find that they'll only have a short rest, and you'll have to put an extension on your cue. You'll have a really long cue, but you'll have a short rest. You will have to push your left hand forward up the table to get the rest head closer to the cue ball. if you have to do that, your number one priority is keeping this unit here. Hang on, let me just start that again. Your number one priority is keeping this unit as a collective item optimally positioned in your ideal setup position. So if that left hand needs to slide backwards and forwards, so be it. Just deal with it. Sometimes you have to do that if the equipment isn't correct. Any other questions?
Well, just more comments on how, what a great webinar this is, Nick.
Thank you very much.
Very informative, and it's helping people improve their game. If I may just comment, because that seems to be the only comment for now coming in from the attendees. From my perspective as a Dartfish representative, obviously we're spending time helping you, get you guys into, helping showcase Dartfish into snooker. But if there's anyone out there who is at a club who has a coach who you think might be interested, please put us in touch, because we're looking to help people. So if anyone is interested in putting their coach in touch with us, please let us know.
That's a very good point, because if the coach at your club has this facility, then they can analyze your game in a lot more detail. And I mean, the tools we've shown here are, I mean, it's less than half the tools that are available in the software, and we've only focused on Restplay. I mean, there is so many aspects of the game that these tools can be applied to get learnings. But yeah, good point, Charlie. And what I'm going to do now is just go to the wrap-up phase, which is how coaches benefit from using Dartfish and how I've benefited. I find clients come to me just because they want the analysis. They didn't necessarily consider using me before, but because I offer the analysis, I get a lot of clients turning up just to get the analysis, and they also get the training as well. They also buy the training for a day or a week or whatever, or half a day or a couple of hours. If clients want the coach anyway, they will often upgrade to getting an analysis as a permanent keepsake. I personally issue the analyses on a physical DVD and post it to the customer. I give them 2 copies as well, one as a backup, and that's a permanent DVD record then of their game with professional menu and everything. And you know, often I'll do a Dartfish analysis with a client a year later or whatever, just as a top-up after they've applied a lot of what we work on together, and that works very well as well, an occasional top-up with Dartfish. The bonus, we can send everybody a link to this Dartfish information pack for coaches at your club, or if there are any coaches on the webinar. And also you could let them know that there is a big collection of bonuses that coaches get from me that they wouldn't get anywhere else by buying Dartfish just off the shelf, as it were. So buy Dartfish for snooker and billiards, and there's a lot of bonuses in terms of ongoing support that Charlie and I offer. And that effectively is...
Nick, if I can ask you a quick question, Nick. From a coach's perspective, how much do you think the use of video analysis speeds up somebody's progression in the game?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that it speeds up my ability to train them and to show them. Like, for example, the last webinar, there was a video clip that I showed there where a client of mine played his shot. We played it back through the Dartfish and in slow motion, and I saw that as he hit the ball, his eyes were closed. He'd closed his eyes. You know, like on the roller coaster, you close your eyes. He closed his eyes. I did not see that when I was staring at him playing the shot, and I'm pretty observant. You know, I've had a lot of practice at this, and I still didn't pick that up. So it accelerates my ability to help the students. And sometimes, instead of me rabbiting on about this, that, and the other, all I need to do is show them what they've done on the screen with one or two of the tools, and they tell me what they need. So that's a longer lasting improvement than being lectured at. Yeah?
Yes, that's great, actually. Thank you. I guess my final question, Nick, would be, actually I have one more question, in fact, from the floor, but before I ask that, as a coach, are you making more money as a result of having Dartfish?
I do. I would say it probably adds every year, say 10 or 20% at least to my training, to the number of customers I have, the number of training days that I have, and I'm very busy, so it's easier to sell coaching weeks if I offer the analysis as a feature as well, because they can access the learnings from that training week forever. And that's a very useful selling point to customers that I can give as part of the training week package or training weekend package. They're very popular as well. And analysis, either give it to you online or in DVD. And selling to the client the ability to remind themselves and coach themselves is very useful, because then they're not coming back to waste money with you again on the same subject. You're anchoring this down in a video, they master those, and if they want to come back to higher level work, then they do that. But then they're not wasting time and money, yours and theirs time, by just repeating the same issues over and over again. That's not fair to the client.
Great. Actually, with that magic repeating the same issues, I've had some questions in regards to live analysis, and it's worth pointing out that the Dartfish and video analysis software works for both live analysis, that means immediate feedback, and post-analysis, that means... so would you like to expand on that very briefly?
That's a very good point, because you saying that, I realized, I assumed that people listening knew that I was referring to live analysis, where your camera connects to the laptop, and as soon as they play the shot, on the screen, either the laptop screen or the flat screen TV on the wall that you can connect a laptop to, you can program the software to say, we're going to record 4 seconds of stroke and approaching the table, delivering the cue, chalking the cue, whatever, and we'll play that 6 seconds after the shot's been played. So it gives the player a chance to complete the shot properly, stand up, look at the screen without any intervention from me. All I've done is press record, and then the player just sees exactly what they've done at a predetermined speed, half speed, quarter speed, full speed, and then I can add lines or frame advance, frame reverse, any of the tools that you've seen tonight to that clip to expand on what I see. So instead of me pointing with my finger to the screen, look here, your hand moved a little bit, and I can just put a line there that shows their hand moving throughout the shot. So there's a reference there of a line. that make sense?
That's great, Nick. Yes. I guess the final question before we wrap up is, can it be done remotely? I.e., this question is, so you're in the UK, Nick, in Milton Keynes. You've got people who attended the webinar today from India, from China, from all around the world.
Yep.
Can they send their videos in for you to analyze? Can people from...
Yeah. So what I do, my website has a simple upload feature. So you can email me here at these contact details, and I email you a document that is free. It's how to film your snooker technique. There's lots of pretty pictures on there on how to film your video for your own game, for your own benefit. Then that will show you the 10 or so angles of camera that I need to see your game from. Then I'll show you how to upload that video to my site in 2 or 3 clicks. I will then, I can either have a look at what you do, give a very brief opinion, or you can pay in advance for the Dartfish analysis, where I'll go through the entire videos that you've sent and apply the Dartfish tools like you've seen here, and then you'll get a recorded video with the key technical areas for improvement that will help you pop more balls and make more breaks.
That's very helpful, Nick. So if anyone else has a question, please let us know now. Nick, if you have any final comments, go ahead.
No, that's it. I think the billiards and snooker community should continue this conversation with you, Charlie, and by viewing these clips, and I'm keen to make this a regular feature of my calendar so that we can add an archive of webinars for people to refer to and for coaches to look at, to preview the software and get a feel for how their business could benefit and how their ability to help other players can accelerate and benefit.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, Nick, we work with hundreds, dozens of sports, and video analysis is a standard feature in all of those sports. And as all of these sports progress, no matter how big or small they are, video analysis remains a key part of that. So we're going to keep running these monthly webinars. In fact, more than monthly. We're going to be doing them every couple of weeks, I believe. And the idea is that we can only keep doing them if you guys help spread the word and comment and send in your opinions and feedback. So I'll be sending an email around tomorrow. So if anyone has any feedback or questions and any questions about or requests about what you want us to focus on, then please send them in.
Please do, yeah. Thank you very much, Charlie. Thank you to everybody for listening. I can't wait to be in front of you again at our next webinar. We'll let you know through the usual email and social media channels. Thank you very much to Charlie for making it all possible, as they say in Hollywood, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you very much for attending. See you again soon.